What's up, guys? I hope you're having an awesome week. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Vipertoad's Garage. Today I'm just going to be doing a little garage update, showing you guys everything that's going on here. Nothing too exciting, but I threw a couple new sets of wheels on the Viper and the Raptor, and I'm going to move some cars around today just to make some room for some new stuff. So just join me as I just kind of mess around here at the Vipertoad sanctuary. All right, guys, here we go. All right, guys, so I wanted to start off and talk to you guys about the 97 GTS. So if you guys remember, I made an episode a couple episodes back where I took this car in to have all the wild aero removed off of it. So it had a huge carbon splitter along the front, had a massive double-decker wing on the back. This was an entirely bigger project than I ever imagined. When we pulled the carbon splitter off, we noticed that the factory bumper was all hacked up to fit it. So if I was to reuse that bumper, it would have been all cut up on the bottom, and it wouldn't have looked anywhere near as factory as I wanted it to. So I then started to look for a new or a new old stock Gen 2 front bumper that I could use on this car, because the one that was all cut up wasn't going to work. So I went ahead, I bought a new old stock bumper from Rock Auto. They sent it to us. After about 2 weeks it came, and it was all mangled up. The front end of it looked like a Ninja Turtle head. It was ridiculous, and we were really upset. I dealt with them trying to get a new one, and they said, hey, if we send a new one, we can't guarantee it's going to be any different. So I basically hoaxed that idea. So I put a want to buy ad out on the market saying, I'm looking for a Gen 2 bumper. It can be used, can be new, just needs to be in really good condition, something that's reusable. And one of the local Viper techs here, Eddie Martin, messaged me and told me he has a buddy with a red GTS bumper that he may be willing to let go of. So after talking with Eddie, I was able to get that red GTS bumper, and it wasn't in the best condition. It had a couple little scratches and defects. So we went ahead, got it all fixed up. Elite Finishes took care of bringing it back to exactly how it should be. They had it painted blue. They added the white stripes. Everything was done just exactly to aftermarket spec. And luckily, it was an early Gen 2 bumper that had the slots for the fog covers. I was worried that if we get a bumper that doesn't have the slots for the fog covers, they'd have to cut them, and they might not be, perfect or exactly where they should be. So luckily, it was an early Gen 2 GTS bumper that we got. Everything fits correctly. It's got the OEM part number, so this is exactly how it would have came from the factory when you bought the 97 GTS. Moving on to the rear of the car. So this car had a massive double-decker, 90s, 2000s wing on it. So taking that off was also a major undertaking. It had two really big holes here and on the other side. They had to completely fill that with, it's like a fiberglass mixed with something else like resin or something like that. They had to fill it, block it, sand it. They painted it, and then once they painted it, brought it into the sun, you could see the outlines of the two holes. So then they went ahead and did it again. They basically redid the entire filling of the two holes, sanding, blocking, did it all over again. We had to do it 3 times in order to get it to where it's at now. So if you look at it, depending on the light, if it catches it, there's a tiny, tiny little area where you could see that maybe there was a circle there or some kind of thing, but it would take, you have to be looking at it with a magnifying glass at the right angle and the right lighting. It looks phenomenal now. I'm so happy with how it came out. You would have no idea that this car ever had any kind of wing on the back of it, and that's exactly how I wanted it. I wanted it, when I take it to a car show, I don't want any signs of there being anything ever installed on this deck lid. So super, super happy with how it came out. Elite did a great job restoring the deck lid on this car. I didn't want to have to, chop the roof because it's all one piece, right? You can't just replace the back. It's all one piece here. If you look at this line right here, it goes up here and it ends here. So this is the entire deck lid / roof combo. So there's really no easy way to remove a wing. You have to fill it, you have to block it, sand it, paint it, all that stuff. You can't just replace that panel. I mean, you can, but it's an even bigger project doing that. Moving on to my favorite part of the build. So I finally got these wheels on. These are VTForged, which again, if you guys don't know, that's my wheel brand, Vipertoad Forged. These are the VTForged GT-C 19-inch wheels. They're 19 by 10 in the front, 19 by 12 in the rear. On the front, we're running a 275 30/19. On the back, we're running a 325 30/19. These came out insane. I'm so happy with how they came out. The matte gunmetal with the polished lip looks amazing. If I could do anything different, maybe I would have went a little bit lighter on the face. In the sun, I love how they look, but in the shade, they look almost satin black, which, you know, I wanted them a little bit lighter in the shade, but overall, I'm extremely happy with how they came out. It completely changed the look of the car. It gave it that resto mod look I wanted with the step lips. And, you know, this car came with the bare 6-piston calipers all around. So these are massive 14-inch rotors and 6-piston calipers, front and back. The car also has Moton coilovers, and it has a fully built motor. It has the Archer Racing 600 package, and that's how I got it, you know, when I bought the car from the previous owner. Here's the rears. As you can see, the rears have really good concave. And for a Viper, trying to get a lip and concave is close to impossible, and we nailed it on this fitment. I have Gen 2 fitments down to a science now. My red RT10 also has VTForged wheels. It has the exact same fitment, front and rear. So if you do want to order a set of wheels for your Gen 2, I know exactly the specs to make it look phenomenal and sit perfectly flush. All right, so moving on to my Gen 3 Raptor. This is a 2021 Ford Raptor. This came with the 35 package. I did a 2-inch front leveling collar. It's got a 3/4-inch Fouts rear spacer to make it sit nice and level. I finally got my VTForged GT-5 wheels on. These are 20x10 all around, -24 offset, and I'm running a 37 12.5 20 Nitto Ridge Grappler all around. As you can see, they stick out probably about 1.5 to 2 inches outside of the fender, which is exactly the fitment I wanted. This is the same fitment I had on my lime green Gen 2 Raptor, so I knew I was gonna like how they sat, and it just looks insane with that massive, these have 4-inch lips, and the spokes do have some concave to them, the faces. So this came out just super sick. I'm really, really happy with how this setup turned out. I'll do a little walk around for you guys. So a lot of guys were asking me what kind of mods I had to do to fit aggressive 20s with 37s on them. So down in here, I had to shave the pinch weld down. Basically just took a grinder to it. I found a little tutorial on the Raptor Connection Instagram page that showed basically where to mark it and where to cut. So I followed that to a T. And then this here, I'm gonna see if I can get in there. So this is the factory flare. I didn't trim it at all. I zip tied it back to the frame. So that kind of moves it out of the way and gives clearance for the tire to move in and out when you turn the steering wheel. So basically just grind down a little bit of the pinch weld, you know, shave off. It's like 2 triangles you have to cut out of it, and then you have to zip tie the flare out of the way. You don't have to cut the flare, just zip tie it out of the way. Don't have to cut the liner, didn't touch that at all. Everything is just tucked and zip tied out of the way. 1 zip tie, and it's been great. I've been driving it like this now for close to a week, and it's been perfect, no issues. All right, guys, here we go. So this is the 97 GTS along with my 2013 launch edition. Here they are, kind of together for the first time. I still got to bring the rear of the 97 down a bit. The front sits perfect. I don't want to go any lower. It's already super hard to get in and out of my driveway. But the rear, as you can see, it has like, it's about like 3 fingers of gap here. So I'm already all the way down on the Moton coils as far as I can go without a helper spring, meaning that if I lower that lower perch collar anymore, the spring will sag. So when the suspension is unloaded, it can basically come off of its perch collar, and I don't want that to happen. So in order to go lower on the rear, I need to install what's called a helper spring that basically holds the mainspring up in its position so it doesn't ever droop. And here we have my baby, my 2013 launch edition. So this car is going back to Cordis Performance in a couple weeks. We're going to do a 9.1 inch lower. It currently has an 8.6 inch lower, so we're going to switch it out to the 9.1, and we're also converting this car to full-time ethanol. I'm doing the Pro Speed Gen5 Viper fuel system, which includes a triple pump hanger. I believe it's 3 of the Thai Auto, it's either the 268 or the 275 or 276 pumps. It's going to give me more than enough fuel needed for my setup. So on E85 and with about 2 more pounds of boost, we're thinking she should be somewhere right around the 950 wheel range. And keep in mind, I'm still on stock ECU, so it's going to be quite a handful. Also, one more update. So I ordered an 18-inch rear bead lock for this car because in November, Streetcar Takeover's coming. They're going to do roll races. I want to participate in the rolls, and with the extra power and no traction control, you know, I don't want it to just be slipping and sliding down the track. So we're going to be doing a 18x13 bead lock VTForged GT-C wheel on here. It's going to be running a 345/30/19 Toyo RR is what I'm going to put on here. So it's going to be strictly for track use, although if I like it a lot, I may just end up running it on the street and just swap the 20s on for, you know, if I'm going to a car show or something like that. But yeah, I'm really excited for the 18-inch bead lock. I've never had an 18-inch rear on this car before, so just excited to see how it feels and how it does with the extra traction. Man, I just can't get over how good the Raptor looks on these 20-inch VTForged GT-5 wheels. The 37-inch tires fit perfectly on this thing and really fill up the wells. This truck was meant for 37s. It just looked, you know, now I thought it looked good on the 35s, but now seeing it on the 37s, completely different look. It's like an all-new truck to me. So I'm really obsessed with how this came out. I try to find any excuse I can to run to the grocery store or take the kids somewhere because I love driving this thing. It feels so smooth on these wheels and looks so badass. Whew, it's so hot here. It's close to 100 degrees in AZ today, but luckily we're almost through the summer. Fall's right around the corner. Next week's already in the 90s, so I'm super excited for the cooler weather. Can't wait to do more vlogs for you guys. That about wraps it up for today's updates. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Vipertoad's Garage. Until next time, see you guys. Peace.